Okay, today I'm going to look at the spot market for flatbed. Going to do another spot market video. So I think I might try to use DAT this time. I normally use truck stop for my videos, but I might try to use DAT just to do something different. So kind of now I've been on vacation for about 10 days. And then I've only been back for a week, so I'm a little out of things. Spot market changes a lot, so I'm kind of trying to get myself back into it. So I might make some mistakes here. But it's 5 o'clock. It's 5:30 on Friday, so the loads are starting to kind of dwindle down. Alabama here has 1,200 loads leaving. This is the dashboard for DAT, and this tells you how many loads are going into Alabama, how many loads are going out of Alabama, so on and so forth, so you can kind of see the offset. It's a nice feature because it gives you kind of the market indicators. So if you look in Colorado, there's 256 loads coming in and only 74 loads leaving. So how many trucks are leaving without a load and deadheading out of the state? That's why Colorado's so bad. And then if we look at Florida, Florida's kind of the same thing, but not quite as bad. Not quite as bad of an offset. So what we want to look at is the ones with the most amount of loads leaving and the least amount of loads coming in. That gives us where the market's going to be the best, hopefully. I just heard something on my mic cut in. What happened? Okay. Let's look for Mississippi. Mississippi normally, yeah, see, look. Mississippi, only 69 loads coming into the state, flatbed loads coming into the state, and almost 800 leaving. So we're talking about, 10 to 1. Now, I'm actually going to Mississippi for a Monday delivery, so that's kind of fun. So that's a good idea to start, just kind of look around. I live in Wyoming, but we can't see Wyoming because, Anyway, so if we start searching for loads, depending on the subscription that you have, you may or may not have these tabs. The subscription I pay for gives me 3 tabs. I don't think I can do another one. Yeah, only 3 tabs, which is kind of nice because you can have several different searches open at the same time, switch back and forth. Another cool feature of DAT is you got a quick tool here, a rate lookup, quick rate lookup. So we could type in like a Seattle, Washington to Denver, Colorado, and it'll give us the average rate for that. Now, if you want to look van, we could look van, but we're looking for flatbed today, so let's switch it around. So it's telling us the average rate from Seattle to Denver is $34.77 or $2.61 a mile, and the range is $2.30 a mile to $2.90 a mile. Depending on what you're looking at, this could be a little wrong. Especially in the West, it's normally wrong. I suspect the reason why is because of the maxi for flatbed loads. Any of the maxi freight is also posted as flatbed, and the load board doesn't know how to distinguish it. So I think that's why you see inflated averages in the West. Let's do another one real quick. Let's look at Birmingham, Alabama to Denver. Let's see what that's paying. $3.17 a mile. Interesting. Let's see if that holds up. Let's look in Birmingham, Alabama to Denver. We better extend this to Wednesday because, like I said, it's the end of the day on Friday, so and we better extend that a little bit. Let's see what we got. Only 2 loads. So that rate doesn't really hold up. Here they're trying to push it for 3,900, but this is coming out of Mississippi, which is shorter, 150 miles shorter, so that might be about the right number. Let's see what the DA. Here's another nice thing. So anytime you click on a load with DAT, you get a average. So if you look down here, this is the market spot market average. So it's saying that from that city to Denver, the spot market average is 326 a mile, which would be 36.94, and that gives you the range here. So did that hold it? No, it didn't. It went away. Okay. So if we could find exactly Birmingham to Denver, it would, let's see. Here, well, it shows us right here. When you type in city to city, it will give you that lane's rate, or what DAT thinks that lane's rate should be. That's derived from a 15-day average of actual loads paid. And I believe that's not posted. I believe that's actual loads paid over the last 15 days from the fleets and from the carriers who are reporting that. So it should be really accurate, although it always seems to be high. And I don't know if everyone's just better at negotiating than I am, but it seems to be a little on the high side. But in this case, they are actually posting over the average, 3,900. The average is 3,700. So they're actually posting over the average. Now, you might notice something here. When you look at this 303, that is with deadhead included, because I have a Chrome extension called Load Hunter, which integrates the mapping system in. So this map wouldn't exist on DAT without the extension. This little box here that gives you the rate, and this gives you the trip, this gives you the deadhead, and that's the total with deadhead. And so this is a little square that lets us do some math. We could take the deadhead to 0, and then it shows us what our rate would be. And we could also say, what if we want 4,200? If we were able to bid 4,200 on that, that tells us what our rate would be. You could put in your fuel mileage, and it gives you your fuel calculation somewhere. I'm not sure how to do it, but let's say we get 39.50. Let's say we want to negotiate 39.50. That puts us at 292 a mile. And so that's a cool little feature. Also, it gives us up here is a B rated. That's the RTS rating. The RTS is a factoring company, so that's effectively the credit rating with RTS, which is really nice because we can see right away whether these brokers are going to pay their bills, or at least whether RTS factoring thinks they'll pay their bills. And RTS is one of the largest factoring companies in North America, so if they say they're going to pay their bills, it's a pretty good, I'm not going to argue with that, right? So let's just say, so I will be over in Jasper, Indiana on Tuesday. I already have a load booked for Monday. So I'm going to deliver the load I have on board today on Monday, and then I will go and pick up a load and go and deliver it Tuesday morning to Jasper, Illinois, or Jasper, Indiana. And so we will be looking for a load in Jasper on the 24th. Now we probably can't really look at the 24th because there's just going to be very few loads posted that far out. So let's see what our options will be on Tuesday, or between now and Tuesday, assuming that we were there now. Of course, like I say, it's after business day on Friday. But here's a decent one going to Chicago, Illinois, $4.19 a mile. There's probably something wrong with that load. Let's click on it and see. Air ride needs TSA. Permits. It's looks like it's 128 inches wide. Airport pickup. Interesting. That'd be kind of a fun load, but it's wide. So you got to be careful with flatbed, because all of your high-paying loads are normally oversized, or it's, I guess with van, all your high-paying loads are, 17 deliveries. But so once you get down a little bit into a reasonable rates, then they're probably for real. This one here is a, where is it? 263 mile loaded miles with 117 mile deadhead. And this puts us at, all in with our deadhead, at 276. That'd be a pretty good load, except for, I don't know if I'd go to Missouri, because you're probably going to get out of the hot market. Here's the notes. So that gives us some. Now, let's see, there's 574 results within 200 miles. Let's shrink that down to 100 and see what we got available to us. 188 loads that match our criteria. 48-foot length, not more than 49,000 pounds, and within between today and Tuesday. Now we're coming up on the weekend, so if this was 6 hours ago, I'll bet you this number would have been at least double that. I should have done this video 6 hours ago, but I was making business calls and everybody was still open, so I was trying to get everything done. So unfortunately, I have to make these videos on the weekend, and then it doesn't really do a very good job. But so that's what we got. So let's say we're going to take one. Let's just pick one randomly here. Where do we want to go? PA, Bethlehem, PA. Let's do Green Mountain, North Carolina for $268. Now keep in mind that is with deadhead. So if we take deadhead out, it'd be $325. What was deadhead? 54. So let's go ahead and take that load. So we're going to be in Green Mountain. We'll just remember this. I'm not going to write it all down. You guys can remember. We're just doing approximates, right? So we're going to be in Green Mountain, North Carolina. Let's put that in over here. And we're going to keep all of our other search criteria the same. Let's see what we got out of Green Mountain. 100-mile deadhead. 85 results for a flatbed, for a 48-foot long flatbed. And if you guys are used to the dry van or reefer, 48-foot flatbeds are really common. In flatbed freight, 48 is probably more common than anything else. Let's just take this out and I'll show you. So now we're searching for 48 and 53. And if you look down here at the equipment, there's a 53 that needs to be a 53, 48, 48, 48, 53, 53, 48, 48, 48. I mean, 90 or 80% of the flatbed loads available are okay to go on a 48. So I think it's probably best bang for your buck to buy the 48. They go everywhere. You don't have to worry about axle configuration if you go to California or Florida. The 53 gets a little sideways with axle configuration trying to do a spread axle, right? So there is some problems with the 53 when you were talking about a spread axle on a flatbed. So keep that in mind. But most of the time, of course, our high-paying loads might be a 53. I've seen some really nice paying loads that I can't take because it requires a 53. So it might be worth looking at picking up a 53 with the right axle configuration that we know about. The problem is it changes per the state, and then you got to move axles, slide axles. Having a fixed spread axle is so much easier. It wears a lot of tires, but so look, we've got. Let's go ahead and put that back to 48, just so we know that we can take whatever is available. Well, I guess that. So if I don't know if you saw that. Let's go back to 85 loads available. When we take that off, it's 87. So I mean, what are we talking? 12 loads. 12 loads required something other than a 48. That tells you right there. Okay, so let's just pick something here. Let's. Do you want to go back to Nashville? No, that's too low. Let's see if we find a Florida load. Ooh, that's too far south, Florida. Chattanooga for $300. That looks like a good load. We are searching by rate per mile. So let's see. Long Island, Virginia. That doesn't sound fun. Salem, West Virginia. Let's see here. Ooh, maybe the Nashville would be best. $850. Now that's a 91-mile deadhead. That was a really good paying load before our deadhead. Wait a minute. What's going on here? This is saying 58-mile deadhead. Sometimes there is some differences in the mapping. This is saying it's a 91-mile deadhead between Kings. Oh, hang on. Where are we at here? Huh. This could be interesting. You might not be able to take a truck through that section. I don't know that area. But let's go ahead and take this load. So this load would have paid somewhere between $229 if we went the long way, or $258, $257 if we went the short way. And we are going to go to Nashville. So let's go ahead and take a peek over in Nashville. Let's see what's going on. We're going to keep all the other parameters the same. 158 loads available in Nashville. Where are we going to go from Nashville? Let's change this to posted rate, which would be highest rate. And now we're going to sort by highest rate, $4,000 to Deer Park, New York. Where is Deer Park, New York? I used to know. Out on the island. Perfect. Well, if you want to go have some fun, you can go out on the island for $3.80 a mile. Most people don't like to do that. I don't really mind it. But when you do the math on it, the time it takes, the tolls, sometimes it's not worth that $4,000 bill, but that's a nice bill. Okay. Kent, Washington for $1.03. That's probably not worth it. That's a partial though. Here's one going to PA. That's a pretty good revenue load, and it's a pretty good rate load. Let's see what our deadhead actually is. 53 miles, 272 a mile, 4-foot tarps. Ooh, that's, it's funny. I actually prefer a 4-foot tarp load over a no tarp load. I know that sounds stupid, but what you end up seeing and finding out in flatbed freight is when you book a no tarp load, that freight could be anything, right? And you don't know until you get there. And most of the time, the brokers won't tell you if they know, and half the time they probably don't know what the freight is, because their customers just told them no tarp and strap and go. Well, strap and go means you need straps. Well, sometimes it can be some weird shaped object, and it's just a pain in the butt, and it's risky, and it's scary. Things looking to fall off you. When it's a 4-foot tarped load, we know it has to only be 4 foot tall. So, and because it's tarped, it's normally some sort of bagged thing, or pallets, or so. This is almost a safer load than anything else. Giving away my secrets here. Yes, we have to tarp it, but 4-foot tarps are very easy to put on. I like them. They're cheap to purchase. Everything's secure. Everything's nice. Nothing's going to fall off. That's another thing with no tarp. Sometimes you have to get very, very creative on securing that load to keep all your stuff on, like bricks, for example. Yeah, it's no tarp, but all your little individual bricks fall off unless you have the right edge protector. So in a lot of cases, in a lot of states now, are requiring tarps on bricks because of that reason, so you don't get stuff to fall off. Oftentimes lumber that's no tarp, oftentimes if it's short lumber sticks in bunks, the lumber will wiggle out the middle of the bunk. The lumber will start coming out and falling off your deck, front and back. So oftentimes lumber that says no tarp, I'll end up tarping the thing because I don't want to have sticks fall out. So 4-foot tarp, I almost prefer over anything else. So anyway, let's take this load. This looks good. So $2.83 a mile. Let's see here. Let's just copy this so I don't spell it wrong. Let's see here. Put it over here. And we'll search out of there. Now, I don't know if PA traditionally is not all that wonderful. PA to Utah for $1.90. PA to Houston for $1.55. PA to Georgia for $2.16. PA to Massachusetts for almost $4 a mile. Wow. Would that be worth it? Probably not. But you know what? I think we're going to take this anyway, hypothetically. 6-foot tarps required, perfect, fine, wonderful. Okay. Ooh, that's a bad route. I definitely wouldn't take this in real life. I wonder if we should take it just to see what the Massachusetts market's like. Let's go ahead and say we took that. $3.70 a mile almost. It's a good one. But this is probably going to be a bad one. Northampton, Massachusetts. Now what do we got? Bad, bad, bad. Let's see. Georgia for $1.61. Mm-hmm. Lumber. Kim extension 3. I think I've dealt with Kim. I think it's a guy. Let's see here. They are a B rated, so they are a good broker. Let's take that low just to get the heck out. So that's $1. Again, we're not tracking these numbers. You're trying to. Hopefully, you guys are keeping it in your head, and you can write in the comments what we ended up averaging out. $1.61 down to Georgia. Now, keep in mind we took almost $4 a mile up there, but it was shorter. It was PA to Massachusetts, and I believe we got. Going to PA, we got 270, 260, so we got a pretty good chunk of change in there. So we can give up 40 cents to go back down to Georgia, in my opinion, if I'm tracking this correctly. All right, let's say we need to look back in Georgia. Let's just do one more and end the video. This, I think you get the idea here, what we're talking about. Now, this is all staying in the west, or sorry, in the east, which is really kind of the flatbed market. So once we get into Georgia, what do we got available to us? We got a Jacksonville to New Hampshire for $2.20. We got an Oklahoma for $2.56. That could be okay. That's a good broker too. And a high revenue. I like that high revenue stuff. Let's see here. Let me just switch this over and see if we can find a really high rate per mile. Going down to Florida, of course. Yeah, it's all going to go down to Florida. So, and really low revenue. Okay, let's just take, I think in this case, I'd probably take that Oklahoma one. Where'd it go? It was 2,700, I thought. Yeah, there it is, Perry, Oklahoma. I would probably take this one. There's no special notes because out of Oklahoma, we should be able to do something. It's probably not going to be, ooh, that does not come out so well. $2.22 a mile, but it's pretty high revenue, $2,500. So I'd probably do that. Now, just to look around, let's look over in Seattle, Washington. I'm kind of wondering what's going on the West Coast. I haven't been there in a while. Well, actually, I'd have one of my drivers over there in Oregon, so I guess I have been. But so here's one going down to Florida for $1.82 with deadhead. New Hampshire $1.73 with deadhead. You're going to give up probably $2.50 in tolls for this New Hampshire load. So Georgia for $1.80. That's a pretty good load. Arlington to Georgia. Ooh, Ryan Transportation has this one. That's interesting. They didn't used to have Arlington loads. $1.75 all in. That's how it is in the West. So that gives you an idea. Hopefully you guys got some information out of that. Like I said, some of the features you see on this load board is from the Chrome extension that I have. This map does not come with the load board. That's integrated from the Chrome extension. Also, this little math feature here, this little math box doesn't come, which is really nice because you can pop up the number and it gives you, what the hell? That didn't really do much, did it? 4,100. So if you bid 5,000 on that, you're $1.62. If you bid 5,500, you're $1.90. Let's do 6,200. Oopsie, that's a lot. Let's do this. Now you're over $2 a mile. So you've got to bid $2,100 more than they have it posted for to get you over $2. That ain't going to happen. Okay, so that gets you some ideas on DAT, what the flatbed market's looking like. One thing I want to do real quick, if I can do it real quick, Nashville, Tennessee. Let's switch this to van. I have not looked at van in a long time. Let's see what's going on in Nashville, Tennessee, kind of the center of the good market with van. Rape Salt Lake for $1.90. That would be horrible because your return would probably be under $1.40. Going to Texas for $2.74. That sounds really good. California for $1. California for 90 cents. California for 90 cents. 90 cents. 75 cents to California. Now this would be a killer load. If I was running van, I'd take this 75 cents to California. I don't know how anybody would book that. It's partial. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, I mean, we're not seeing very good loads here. If you're in the van market, you guys are hating life. Look at, if I got something wrong, it doesn't seem right. $1.41. Is this really how the van market is, guys? Comment if you think, if this is normal. Am I missing something? I mean, we're after hours on Friday, so I know we're missing stuff. We're seeing leftover loads where all the good ones are gone. I know that, but my goodness. I mean, $1.70 a mile to go to Charlotte. I mean, Charlotte should be a good market. Let's find out. This is not looking good in the van market, guys. I think what I know in the van market is that you got to be on your game on booking loads. In the van market might be where you want to have a dedicated dispatcher because you got to have your stuff dialed in. I mean, $1. Okay, that's a partial. Well, it's not posted as a partial. Yeah, it is. 38 feet. It's a pretty big partial. These are all partials, guys. What's going on here? Here, $2 a mile to go up to New Hampshire. I don't know what's going. This can't be how bad it is. Really? Wow. All right. Well, I think that will end the video. Here's the DAT. This was a load I just booked for Jeff, picking up on Monday, delivering on Wednesday down there. This was 2,800, but we negotiated that up to 33. This is a pretty good load for us. I think we are going to Florida, but pretty good rate to go to Florida. So we'll come out either deadhead or we'll get some cheap freight out. So let me know what you guys are seeing on the spot market. Let me know how things are. Let me know if you guys are running dry van or reefer or flatbed and what you guys are seeing, what your rates are holding up to be with deadhead. That's how I always track it, is with deadhead. So let me know.